It was an ugly day for the Atlanta Braves on Tuesday, losing a doubleheader to the New York Mets. But there were some positive signs out of these games, including Ronald Acuna Jr., Matt Olson, and Charlie Morton. We'll break all that down and talk about the negatives as well on this episode of Lockedon Braves. So let's get into it.
You are Locked On Braves, your daily Atlanta Braves podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, and welcome back to Locked On Braves, a part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your favorite Atlanta sports teams each and every day. Make sure you're following Locked On Sports Atlanta on YouTube so you can get the postcast with me and Grant McCauley after just about every Atlanta Braves game. And I am your host, Jake Mastroianni. You can follow me on Twitter at shortstopball. Check out my bio there to see everywhere I am covering the game of baseball, including your Atlanta Braves in written form over at tomahawktake.com. Also, make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter at LockedOn_Braves and subscribe to the Locked On Braves podcast wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we upload a new video. And thanks for making Locked On Braves your first listen each and every day. We post episodes daily, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and are free and available on all platforms. And before we get into this episode of Locked On Braves, I want to remind you that this Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off $500 when you use promo code Locked On at checkout. So with all that out of the way, let's jump into this podcast. We'll be breaking down the doubleheader from Tuesday with the Braves losing both of those games, but got some positive things in there I want to talk about. We'll talk about the negatives as well, and then we'll set you up for Wednesday's game against the New York Mets. So let's start with the positives because we know there probably aren't a lot of you thinking very positively at the moment, but there were quite a few positives out of this game for the Atlanta Braves. And one of those for me, maybe the biggest positive, was Charlie Morton. And it's possible Charlie Morton's figured some things out here. And it was a rough beginning for him, that is for sure. But he did kind of figure it out. And that's a huge first step for him. And that's really what I wanted to see from him in this game. And he walked a couple of batters early. He hit a batter, and that came back to hurt him. But overall, I thought it was a very positive step for Charlie Morton. His defense really let him down in this one, and I'll get into more of that when we talk about the negatives. He really should have only given up 2 runs in this game. At the very least, he had a valiant effort in going into the 6th inning and saving the bullpen in the first game of a doubleheader while also keeping his team in the game. And that was very huge. It looked early on like Charlie Morton wasn't going to make it out of the 3rd, maybe 4th inning. So for him to work into the 6th inning, that was a great effort by Charlie Morton. And after that 3rd inning, he retired 11 of the next 13 batters he faced. And he looked like the Charlie Morton that we're accustomed to seeing. He talked about after the game that he felt like he found some pitches that were working for him. And that's certainly great to hear. Hopefully he can take that into his next start. And let's be honest, Charlie was highly unlucky in this game. I talked about it early on. He was still struggling with the command, and he hurt himself in that regard. But he was really unlucky. Gave up some soft hits in this game. He had an average exit velocity against of just 82.2 miles per hour. Only gave up 5 hard hit balls and nearly 7 innings pitched. So I mean, again, this was a huge step for me, and I tweeted out during the game that even if the Braves lost, I thought this was a win because it looks like Charlie Morton is back. Hopefully, he carries this into his next start, and we see Charlie Morton get on a roll. Going to be huge for this Braves team. Another positive for me is Matt Olson. Looks like he's getting out of his slump. In fact, you look at these 2 games, I think you can say he's already gotten out of it with back-to-back really good games. In the first game, he had 2 walks, and he hit that big 3-run homer that brought the Braves within a run. And I talked about it on yesterday's podcast. It looked like he was pressing a little bit, especially in big situations, trying to do too much to just force his way out of this slump. So it's good to see him with some more patient at bats, taking what the pitcher is giving him, taking those walks, and then to get that home run that he's been looking for with the home run drought that he has had. And then in the second game, 2 for 4 with 2 doubles and didn't strike out. He had struck out in 10 straight games coming into Tuesday and didn't strike out in either game of the doubleheader. So nice to see him get going again. Hopefully, this leads to another hot streak for Matt Olson. And then Ronald Acuna Jr. continuing to show signs of getting back. Didn't play in the first game, obviously, and I cannot believe he did not get a pinch hit opportunity in a one-run game. I get it. You're trying to save him, be cautious, whatever. It's a one-run game, and you have Ronald Acuna Jr. on your bench. Give that man an at-bat. See if he can run into one. Is one at-bat really going to hurt him all that much? I don't believe so. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think I'm wrong. I cannot believe you didn't use Ronald Acuna Jr. there and give him an at-bat in a one-run game. But he did start the second game, and he started out the second game hot with a 116.6 mile per hour double off the bat. Matt Olson moved him over the second with 1 out, but unfortunately the Braves weren't able to bring him in, and that would end up being the story for that game. The Braves not able to bring in runners once they get him on base. Acuna also walked in the game and didn't strike out. I know it's a small sample size, but it was the first game he hasn't struck out in this year. In fact, he had struck out multiple times in 3 of his first 4 games back. So hopefully that's a sign he's starting to see the ball a lot better and he's got his timing back. Again, that's back-to-back games now that he's hit a ball 109 miles per hour or harder. So great to see him barreling up baseballs again, not striking out, putting the ball in play more. I know strikeouts are always going to be a part of Acuna's game, but still, I think it's just a sign that perhaps he's seeing the ball a little bit better, and that is really great for the Atlanta Braves. And then finally, my last positive is Kyle Wright. And look, I know it wasn't his best outing. A couple of balls hit pretty hard in that first inning that just found a hole. And then he left a curveball in the middle of the plate that Dominic Smith hit with 2 outs. That was a big at bat in that game. Gave up 9 hits. The most he had given up in a start this year was 5 before this. And he walked the batter. He only struck out 3. Mets don't strike out a lot. They put the ball in play. That's his lowest strikeout total of the year. He allowed a base runner in every inning that he pitched in, and he pitched 7 innings, except for the inning that Pete Alonso hit a home run, if you don't count that as a runner reaching base. So why was this such a big start for Kyle Wright and a big step in his development? Because he still went 7 innings, and he only allowed 3 runs. He got some big double plays in there, but he learned how to work out of jams when things aren't going his way. And things weren't going his way is kind of the story of the day for the Braves pitching. And the Braves pitching is not why they lost this doubleheader. The Braves pitching was good enough for them to win both of these games. It's squarely on the offense, and again, we'll talk about that in our negatives from the doubleheader. But this was the lowest average exit velocity against Kyle Wright has had in any of his starts this year. 87.5 miles per hour was the average exit velo, and he gave up the most hits that he's given up all year. So go figure. That's just kind of the way things have been going for the Braves. But he did get hit around this Mets team. Again, puts the ball in play. But the big thing for me was Wright learned how to work out of those jams, still gave the team length, went 7 innings and kept them in the game, only giving up 3 runs. So similar to his last start where he wasn't necessarily getting hit around, he was just struggling with his command and release point and finding pitches that were working for him. And this start, he was giving up the hits, had a lot of traffic, but he never broke. Something that we saw a lot from Kyle Wright early in his career, where once things started to unravel like that, it could fall apart very quickly. And we see him continue to grow and take that next step forward in this start on Tuesday. So that is certainly great to see from Kyle Wright. All right, next we'll take a look at the negatives from Tuesday. Before we do that, I want to once again tell you about Blue Nile. Whether she prefers a statement piece or everyday subtle elegance, BlueNile.com has fine jewelry options for every mom. Shop high-quality classic diamond earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, or gemstone and pendant necklaces. You're looking for fine jewelry but having trouble choosing? Blue Nile has jewelry experts on hand 24/7, available via phone or chat to help you find a memorable gift at every budget. Mark Mother's Day with something enduring: classic diamond stud earrings, elegant tennis bracelets, birthstone pendants, and so much more on BlueNile.com. And this Mother's Day, give mom something she'll treasure forever with fine jewelry from BlueNile.com. And Locked On Sports listeners get $50 off $500 spent. This product exclusive is only good through Mother's Day. Use code Locked On. That's code Locked On. Plus, every order is insured, ships free, and arrives in discreet packaging that won't give away what's inside. Shop stress-free and find your forever piece. Go to BlueNile.com today. That's BlueNile.com. All right, so jumping into the negatives from Tuesday's doubleheader, and there were several there, and let's just start at the top. You can't lose a doubleheader to your rival after winning the first game of the series with your ace on the mound, when you had two solid pitching performances and two of your better pitchers in Charlie Morton and Kyle Wright going, and the pitching keeps you in a game, going against pitchers and David Peterson and Carlos Carrasco, who are coming off terrible outings, one at AAA for David Peterson and another for Carrasco, where I think he gave up 7 runs. And your offense just can't get going. This was an opportunity for the Braves to make a statement, at least get a split in this doubleheader to guarantee yourself a split of this series, which I said coming in, I'd be perfectly fine with a split on the road against the Mets. But you had a chance to split this doubleheader on Tuesday after winning game 1 and giving yourself a chance to win the series on Wednesday, and the Braves couldn't get it done. And I said this on the postcast, they're just not a good baseball team right now. And you have to keep saying right now, because you know at any point, just like last year, this team can take off and they can get hot and they can win a bunch of games. You know it's in there, you know they're capable, but right now they're just not a good baseball team. They are not that team. They cannot play good baseball consistently. You look at the first game of that Texas Rangers series and you're thinking, okay, here we go. This Braves team is playing good baseball, play one of their better games of the year, and then they drop 2 straight games to one of the worst teams in baseball. And then you look at Monday, Max Fried on the mound, a good comeback win, a good clean game, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this is it against a division rival. We'll start to see them, play more consistent baseball, and then they drop a doubleheader. It's just not a good team right now. There's no other way around it. I'm not giving up on the season. I'm not ready to trade everybody. None of that. Just right now, they are not a good team. And again, they're capable of better, and that's what makes it so frustrating. Just like the first 4 months of the season last year, it made it so frustrating because you knew this was a good team and they just weren't playing like it. Now they can't wait for 4 months this year, and I keep telling you that. We've seen this Mets team is good. They play a good brand of baseball, and they are playing good baseball right now where the Braves are not. You can't have another 4 months of playing like this and then decide to turn it on. They have to be more consistent, and hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. The defense in game 1 was just brutal, and it lost them that game. There's no other way around it. The defense lost game 1. You can blame some of it on Charlie Morton and his early struggles with the command and walking batters and hitting batters, but all of that aside, defense lost them this game. And 2 plays in particular really cost Charlie Morton. In the second inning of game 1, Ozzie tried to make a spin throw to second base to start a double play, a ball that they had no shot at turning a double play on, especially not in the shift, where I've been very vocal in saying that Dansby and Ozzie have no idea how to turn a double play in the shift, and it's cost them several outs over the last year or so. They just cannot do it. It is awkward watching it. They don't know where to go. There was a ball the other night where you had Dansby and Ozzie on the left side of second base. The ball's hit to Dansby, and Ozzie goes after it, and there's nobody to cover second base to get a double play. This team just doesn't, as good as they are defensively on the infield, it just frustrates me to see how bad they are at turning double plays out of the shift. But either way, Ozzy catches the ball, tries to spin throw it to second, throws it away. Everybody's safe. Bases are loaded. If he just takes the out at first base, Morton likely gets out of that inning without giving up a run. Instead, they score 2 that inning, and that's essentially the difference in the Braves winning and losing that ball game right there on that one particular play. There was another play in the 4th inning. Again, another failed attempt at a double play leads to Jankowski getting on first base. He's still second. Travis Darno throws it into center field, allowing Jankowski to move to third with 1 out. And the Mets, who are a good situational baseball team and put the ball in play, of course, they get the sacrifice fly and score the run. And the throw from Travis Darno, look, it had no chance of getting the runner. And let's be honest, as much as I love Travis Darno, he does a great job calling a game. He usually does a great job at blocking the baseball. Monday night notwithstanding, he does not throw out base runners very well at all. And Ozzy's got to come up and cut that ball off and just catch it. It can't get by him. It just simply cannot get by him. It was a lazy play by Ozzy Albies, and it cost the Braves another run. And just it was really ugly defensively for the Braves. Those 2 plays in particular, you can look at and say it cost the Braves that ball game. And just a terrible game all around for Ozzy. You talk about those 2 plays defensively. He was also over 5 from the leadoff spot, facing a left-handed pitcher. Just a forgettable game all around for Ozzy Albies. And then situational hitting with runners in scoring position. Look, it's bad. We've been talking about it all year. It's just bad for the Braves right now. They're 0-11, or they were 0-11 in the second game, hitting with runners in scoring position. That is just atrocious. That cannot happen. I don't know how that happens. 0-11 with runners in scoring position. In the first inning, Acuna doubled, was moved to third by Olson. Great job moving the runner over. Situational baseball there. And Riley, the most consistent hitter for the Braves all year, strikes out on 3 pitches. It's just that kind of offense right now, just so frustrating to see that even your best hitter up and an RBI opportunity, he strikes out on 3 pitches. They had back-to-back singles to start the second, and then you get a strikeout, pop out, and a strikeout. A leadoff double by Olson in the 6th. Riley moves him over to third. Now he's playing good situational baseball. Ozuna strikes out and Ozzy grounds out. They got the leadoff runner on in 5 innings in this game, including twice with a double, and you can't score a run. That is unacceptable for this offense. And I've talked about it a lot. Look, this offense is home run dependent, and they're not usually going to string hits together. They're looking for that 2-3-run homer to put up a big number. And it's a lot of fun when it's working, and it's worked over the 2+ years now that they've had this type of offense. So you have to trust in it. You have to believe in it. They just won a World Series with this type of offense. But whether it's the baseball's not traveling as much, whether it's the cold weather, whatever you want to blame it on right now, the home runs aren't coming as frequently. They're not coming as frequently with runners on base. And when that's not happening and this team's not stringing hits together, it's highly frustrating to watch as a fan. I'm a fan of this game. I'm a fan of this team. And it's frustrating watching them struggle so badly to string hits together, to play situational baseball. And it's not how this lineup is built. And I get it. And in a month or so, when the weather warms up and hopefully the balls start traveling a little bit better, this will be a thing of the past. But for right now, it's really hard to watch this offense try to play good baseball and to put the ball in play, move runners over, get them in. They just can't. They can't do it. They are incapable right now. Again, I have to keep saying right now because I do believe they can do it and will do it at some point. But right now, they're just incapable of getting it done. 2 guys in particular, Ozuna and Duvall, look, they're automatic outs right now in the middle of your order. And I think Snit has to do something, move them around a little bit because, I talk about not being able to string hits together. It's because there's so many guys like this right now in the lineup. But Ozuna and Duvall in particular, you have them in your your 4th and 5th or 4th and 6th spots in the order. That's really tough when the guys that line up, are getting on base. Acuna getting on base in that second game, Olson getting on base. Riley's been consistent throughout, and Travis Darno, wasn't in there, for the second game. Those are just some black holes in the lineup at the moment. And I think it's time, Snitker try to move things around a little bit. Honestly, Duvall, if it weren't for his defense, I think he gets a couple of games off here to try to clear his head. He's somebody I think that's really hurt by the balls not traveling, but he's also just striking out way too much. And he's great defensively. You have to have him in there right now because of his defense, especially when Acuna is not in the outfield. But his offense is just really hard to watch right now. And he and the way Ozuna's been lately, they're automatic outs, and that's tough in the middle of your lineup. All right, we'll move next to Wednesday's game and talk about hopefully what will be a good day for the Atlanta Braves, bouncing back after what was a bad day on Tuesday. Built Bar is the best tasting protein bar on the market right now. And not only are they the best tasting, but they're great for you as well. Most of them only have about 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. And all Built Bars are covered in 100% real chocolate. And when you compare those stats to a candy bar, which typically has 200 to 300 calories, you can see why not only are Built Bars great tasting, but they're amazing for you as well. And they're the easy choice for when you're looking for a snack or something to get you through your day. They have a ton of great flavors that are changing constantly over at built.com. So make sure you're checking that out. They got the peanut butter brownie, the cookies and cream, which are some of my favorites, but make sure you're going to their site frequently to see what flavors are available. Go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Again, use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off your order at built.com. On Wednesday, another afternoon game. It'll be Ian Anderson versus Tyler McGill. After everything that happened on Tuesday, the Braves losing a doubleheader, the Braves have a chance to earn a split here against the Mets on the road. And again, I said coming in, getting a split on the road against the Mets, I think you can live with that. Knowing how the series is played out, it almost would feel like a little bit of a bummer, but still, you earn a split on the road against the Mets and come home. I think you can, again, live with that going forward. Ian has to be in the strike zone or this Mets team will take their walks and Ian will be out of there after 4 innings. So he has to be aggressive in the zone, not typically his strong suit. He's looking to get batters chasing outside of the zone, and this Mets team just doesn't do that a lot. So I don't love this matchup for Ian Anderson, but hopefully he proves me wrong. The good thing is that the bullpen should be fresh. You got a lot of innings from your starters on Tuesday, and Jesse Chavez ate the rest of the innings in the first game, and Will Smith only had to pitch 1 inning in the second game. So the bullpen should be fresh. You got O'Day, Matzik, Minter, Jansen, and again, Smith could probably pitch as well, especially with the off day on Thursday. So your bullpen is ready to go. Really need to try to win this game at all things possible. Use those bullpen arms in this one. You have them ready to go. You have an off day. There's no reason not to use them in this game if needed. McGill has been great this year, but you look at his average exit velocity of nearly 90 miles per hour and his batting average on balls in play of 222. That tells you he's been a little bit lucky to start this year. He throws the four-seam fastball over 50% of the time. Braves hitters are typically good at hitting the fastball. So I don't think it's a great matchup for Ian Anderson. I do think it's a really good matchup for the Braves offense. Hopefully Acuna's in the lineup, likely at DH. But we'll see about that on Wednesday as the Braves try to earn a split. That will do it for this episode of Lockedon Braves. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at @LockedOn_Braves. Also, make sure you subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast, and we'll talk to you next time.